Hello, friends, fans, foes, critics, enemies, all of that. I have a new setup here. That's temporary fix. I've been using the hand camcorder, and it's a little shaky, but the quality is probably the best I have here until I get a new setup. If I look down sometimes in this video, I apologize. I'm used to having my camera down here where I'm looking right into it, and now I've got it up on this TV, so it's just a little different. I have to get used to this, so bear with me, but it's not going to negate anything that I actually have to say. Obviously, my fingernails are a little bit long. I'm growing them out because I'm trying to get back into classical guitar. I'll play something on here in a little bit, one of these days. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about how the narcissist is not only just, a fake in their personality, a con artist, deceiver, a chameleon, a fake, a fraud. They're intellectual, and I made videos on how they're pseudo-intellectuals. The reason for all of this is because the narcissists, they're essentially lazy. Even if they have good jobs, they're real lazy. They always want other people to do things for them and then to give it to them because they're entitled. You go to work, and while I sit here, get drunk, and play the same guitar skill, you go to work and make money and bring it back to I and give me tribute. Yes. But deep down, they're not they're not productive people at all. They're lazy. They're usually not that bright, or at least not that consistent in their thought because their minds are miswired. So in other words, they have no substance. They have no character. They have no self. They have no substance, but they're all about their image. If you attack that image, that's why they're so frail, and their image, they're so weak. The littlest thing sets them off. Like I said in my Jimmy Buffett video, they create this false self, and they want to live in that person. But that means if you're going to create fake people and live in that false personhood, you don't have to work anything or actually be anything. You can just pretend that you're someone. And so the criticism my narcissist would make about me, and of course we all know the idealize, devalue, discard phase. It has nothing to do with my Christian faith. If it was you're a stupid Christian, so I'm getting rid of you, then why did he marry a Christian woman? Who, I do question. I don't want to be a judgmental jerk, but I do kind of question the sincerity of a faith of a person who's as mean-spirited and arrogant and rude as she is. And now, if you guys know me, you're going to say, well, this guy's pretty full of himself, and he's very cynical. Yeah, but when push comes to shove, I try to treat people really well. The character I have online, I don't want to talk about false selves. Part of this is theater. I mean, I'm going to level with you. I do like debate. I do like to joust, but I don't want to hurt anybody. I have no desire to hurt any people. It's just not my way, man. If you knew who I was and how I relate to other people. But anyway, so the point is, this wasn't about Christianity or atheism. It wasn't about, him being smart and me being very, very stupid, because I was never stupid. And he was really never that smart. What he was a con man who wanted to convince people he was smart. So one of his, again, I said in my other video, his big thing was, I'm a great sea captain. I've been on great sea adventures. Never happened. Take the boat out, do a couple circles, get crap-faced drunk, fall over, urinate yourself, stumble back reeking of alcohol, and look what my great adventures. Wear the right kind of sailor cap and convince a bunch of hillbillies you're wonderful. And they're all going, wow, Jacques Cousteau. Jacques Cousteau's nothing to brag about. It's all about exterminating, 300,000 people a day. Anyway, and this guy was all about humanity's cancer on the earth. It's very scientific, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, so you have the fake self, and one of his characters that I'm going to attack, because I see this a lot on the online community, is the great scientist. With a narcissist, and I see this a lot in certain communities, they want to be seen as very smart and very scientific. That has been a thing these days. Everybody wants to be a scientist. Everybody thinks they are a scientist. Everybody, I think, believes they are a scientist, and everybody wants to worship scientists. So they'll say things like, you're stupid, and you don't know anything about science. Yes, I'm Redbird. I am Redbird. The problem with that is that his idea of being a scientist, we're watching things like people like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye. And I don't necessarily disagree with everything those guys say, but yeah, a good portion of it, yeah. Especially when they start speaking on philosophy. Their knowledge of philosophy is embarrassing and just insulting to the human intellect. Or metaphysics, which is way out of their profession. You can say, okay, well, he's a scientist. Well, he might know something about the science that he studies. If he's a plant scientist, he's going to know something about plant. But that doesn't mean he knows who you should marry, or who you should not be friends with, or what movies to see, or whether God exists or not, or what is the meaning of life. He's not qualified to speak on those subjects any more than anyone else is. So why do we take scientists and deify these guys and do that? Well, he was all about that, but it was all show. I am a great scientist, like Sheldon Cooper on the TV. I read some Isaac Asimov books, provided he can finish the book, with that attention span. And he's great science. I'm like him. He's like me. I will synthesize with him. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Richard Dawkins, his favorite. He believed that Richard Dawkins was the greatest scientist on the face of the earth. Are you effing kidding me? Are you serious? Holy cow, that guy's a joke. Is he good in biology? Yes, he probably is. Oxford, and I'm Oxford's biologist. I have no problem with him speaking about animal structures and plant cells. That's probably well within his expertise to do that. But when he starts speaking on metaphysics of things that happened millions of years ago, and how we all share ancestry with a cabbage, and we're going to evolve into gods, and our uncles were fish, and all of this crap that really just cannot be backed up by anything other than rhetoric and shaming anybody that would disagree with it, and telling us how we don't understand evolution or scientific method. That's kind of embarrassing that that's his prime hero. He wants to be like Richard Dick Dawkins. We call him Dick Dawkins. I mean, it's his name, Richard, right? Dick. It's for short for Richard. He's Dick. But if you were to tell this guy, I'm very scientific. You're stupid. You, Mermaid, you just don't know science. You see, Mermaid. Okay. Well, here you want to be a scientist. Not all scientists study the history and philosophy of science. I understand that. I'm an historian. I like archaeology. I'm all into that stuff, and I'm into academia and the history of academia, philosophical thought, scientific thought. I like it. I genuinely like it. I don't even watch TV. I don't like pop culture. I don't like sitting around watching Bill Nye and going, wow, I worship a freaking TV celebrity. Let's just build a temple, put him up there with his little bow tie, and offer him, cookies and coins of gold. Really? Bitcoin these days, I guess it would be. But if you were to say, hey, Narcissist. Oh yeah, I like science. I'm very everything, every decision I make scientific. Okay, so why don't we be educated and read something like an introduction to the history of science by Walter Libby? It's an older text, but it has a lot of really good information. I don't necessarily agree with some of the kind of progressive nature that it's trying to take as far as the history of science, but some factual knowledge. If you were to say, why don't you read this? It's too inferior for my brilliant scientific mind. I'm going to get drunk and sail my sailboat into a brick wall, fall off and urinate myself. Okay, what about the Oxford Dictionary of Philosophy? It's short, not the best dictionary I've ever had, not the greatest philosophical resource, but it's by Simon Blackburn. Not a believer, but still a really, really good philosopher, kind of like Stephen Law. He wrote an awesome beginner's book in philosophy, even though I could not agree with his metaphysical belief system. I could not disagree with it more. That's an excellent book. That is an excellent book, and I would highly recommend it to anybody. Hey, why don't you read this? You see, this book. My red bird doesn't understand my bird, but Farmer Jeannie does. Yes, she does. How about this one? Ryan, you're very stupid. You're a Christian because you don't understand logic. Okay, which of the three fundamental laws of logic does belief in the deity break? The law of non-contradiction? No. The law of the excluded middle? No. The law of identity? No. The principle of sufficient reason, debatably it's a law, debatably it's not. But either way, claiming that you believe that the deity exists breaks none of those laws. It doesn't violate any sort of, it doesn't make any sort of syllogistic errors. Now, what you do with it can be tied into syllogistic errors and things of that nature, depending on how you formulate your arguments. But belief in God as a first principle in no way does. Some of the best philosophers in the world were theists. Leibniz would be one of them. He's very stupid, you uneducated, dumb believer in God. I'm a great scientist. You do know that Leibniz is the inventor of the binary code, which runs basically your operating systems of all your computers. Oh, snarl, inferior brain. I ain't dropped out of school and ditched my first wife for Spot. Mermaid bird. Or how about this one? Okay, you telling me I'm illogical? Why don't we pick up the book and read The Power of Logic by Stephen Lehman, 3rd edition. I picked this up at a thrift store down the road. It's pretty cheap, but boy, It was a good buy, and it's an excellent book. It's great. See, no, I'd rather just sit in front of the TV with a bunch of freaking Oklahoma hillbillies. No offense to Oklahoma. Yes, you have some great scholars there, but I'm particularly targeting the moron that he married. They sit around. So what he wants to do is sit around in front of the TV box watching episodes of Big Bang Theory with all these people around him going, I'm very scientific, like that guy. And they go, wow, you're real scientific. I believe everything you say. And worshiping